So we're going to go into Sharash Ibar Hebrew roots, right? And you guys, those of you still learning, you guys know we start from the right side of the page and we read right to left. So Sharash Ibar, Hebrew roots. All of you, you're getting tired of hearing me say, we're not really Hebrews with an H. We are Ibar Yad. Ibar is Iber, that's our ancestor's name. The pagans seen that ha in front of it, and they ran it together and made a new word, Hebrew. But when we put a ha in front of words, the ha for us is a definite article like THE, the man, the woman. So they saw the ha in front of Ibar, and they said, oh, in their language, they're Hebrews. No, we are high Ibar. We are the seed of Ibar, going all the way back to the seed of Shem. So that's who we are as a people. So this is our tribal declaration, and we're going to show today with some history how powerful this is. So let's rehearse our declaration. Y'all ready? Yep. Nice and strong, because we're Yahweh, we're Judah, right? These are Israelite scrolls written by the Israelites. If you don't understand the Israelites, then you won't understand these scrolls. And this is just the facts of the case, fam. The Most High is maturing me, and I'm thanking for that. I've been listening to this Christian channel, and they are so condescending, and they are so stuck. All they respect is seminary people, and they're on their channel butchering scripture, and these black Israelites talking about some Lashawan Qadash. They don't even know what they're talking about. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I am making comments, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. My flesh was getting the better of me. So I started making comments on their little message board, but I didn't go up on a panel to be part of that panel because the Most High was like, they're not spiritual. They're not gonna understand what you're saying. And that's what this is saying. If you don't understand the Israelite culture, you can read that Bible. You can get 15,000 seminary degrees. As long as you're reading this Bible from a Greco-Roman perspective, you're not going to understand anything in this book. You may come close, and it may help you change your behavior, but this ain't no behavior modification we're part of. It's either holy or not. Mother's Day sound like a noble thing. Who don't want to honor their mom? But if the root is unholy, you're unholy. So just because your pastor, he's polished, and I don't care if you don't understand a culture, you're not going to understand these scrolls. So we're going to go into, for the people still learning, these are 22 consonants. We don't have any vowels in our language. There are no vowels. All of these glyphs are consonants. And we start on the right side, and I'll rehearse them for those who are still learning. I'm going to start with the ox head, and it just say a, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, tha, and then the arm is ya. We go to the next side, and we say ka, la, ma, na, sai, I, pa, taza, kwa, ra, sha, ta. These are all 22 consonants in their pagan system. And these 22 glyphs help us unlock what the Most High is saying. We're finding out even inside the New Testament, because yes, the complete New Testament, the only remnants they have are Greek fragments. And that's fine and dandy, but those apostles were not Grecians. Those apostles wasn't Hellenists. They were Hebrew Israelites. So you have their letters in a Greek tongue, but you still don't understand what they were saying. That's why you get a doctrine, oh, he knelt it to the cross. He knelt it to the cross, and the Christian dogma says Jesus took away the curse by becoming a curse for us, because it says, cursed is he who hangs on a tree. And that sounds good to us. Yeah, Jesus took away the curse. Well, if Jesus took away the curse, why Luke, the 21st chapter, verse 24, Messiah prophesied to them saying, and y'all going to be scattered into all nations, and the sword is going to chase y'all. If he was there to remove the curse, Pastor, Mr. Christian apologist, if he removed the curse, why did he have to go into captivity after he crucified himself? These are the things you gotta. These people come so polished and so pious, like they know what they're talking about. They don't know these scrolls. If he removed the curse, Shamoya, take us to Revelation. Let's just let this flow. If he removed the curse,
can you repeat the Luke scripture again, please?
Luke 21, Luke chapter 21, verse 24. Let's stop there, Shamoya. Let's stop by there first. This is how we teach our brothers and sisters that if you're learning Christian dogma, you're learning it from a Greco-Roman perspective. As long as your pastor is teaching from a Greco-Roman perspective, you will never have salvation. So Luke 21, verse 24. Shema, when you have it. Shema, y'all read.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Yerushalayim shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So if their Christian dogma is correct, that Jesus Christ removed the curses, why would they need to go into captivity and be chased by a sword after his crucifixion? You don't understand what's going on in these scrolls. Yahweh Shai didn't remove the curses. He was repairing the breach between us and Yah. So he's setting the nation up to be redeemed, but we still got to go through these curses. Y'all ever got in punishment and trying to negotiate with your mom? So yeah, I know you cleaning up now, but you still ain't going outside. So if Christ removed the curses, why is he telling this generation, y'all still going into captivity? Furthermore, if that's not enough, y'all know we live by the plumb line. We like to give you two witnesses. If Christ removed the curse by him being crucified, Shemoya, take us to Revelations 21. I'm sorry, Revelations. It is 21. Or Jesus Christ took away the curses, we got to explain this verse here. Revelation 20, no, it is 22. Revelation 22, verse 3. If his crucifixion removed the curses off us, why do we get Revelation 22, verse 3? Read.
And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of the Most High and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him.
So according to Yachanan, he was the last one of our elders who actually got a word, a vision. He's the eldest right here. He's saying the curse won't be removed until the very end. So these doctor seminaries and these Christian apologists, they get on their channels with hours of footage and all these questions like they're deep. Your questions sound deep to the unlearned, to those who don't know the Israelite scrolls. The Most High sent his son to repair the breach between his people, Israel, and him. But we're still living through the curses. How many mothers in here? Did y'all have painless births? Did y'all have births before the crucifixion or after the crucifixion? After. So y'all had your children after the crucifixion, but you still had to suffer childbirth. That's part of the curses. So this proves these Christians, apologists, and doctor seminary, you don't understand what that means. We call Yahweh Shai. You don't understand who he is for us. You don't understand what he did for us. So that's why we got to go through this exercise. So I think I passed these out about a year or two ago. I know everyone should have digital copies. These are prefixes, to use the pagan term. These are prefixes to help us understand our language. Joe, you have something up?
Yeah, just to land me on what you just said. I was always told just by discussions with different pastors and stuff when I was a Jehovah's Witness, going door to door and stuff like that, because I used to enjoy talking to, the pastors, because even as a witness, you'll find out that, the seminary don't even really prep them. They don't even know their scriptures as well as they should. So even I would sound like I had the truth compared to them. But talking about that particular topic, when you think about it, the curses don't mean nothing to them first and foremost. Ain't nobody teaching that. Going back to the land and Deuteronomy 28, that don't mean nothing to them. As far as they're concerned, that's past. That's why they say they're saved now, because they don't believe that they're in any captivity. They don't believe that they need to be redeemed. Their redemption already took place. Their everything applied to what we're looking forward to, that we know is a result to when these Gentile times are over, and when we go back to the land and we experience our exodus, so to speak. We know to look forward to these things. But to a Christian perspective, to the seminary trained one, that they already delivered from all of that stuff. They just waiting to go home. So that's another perspective I was just thinking to add to what you said. All of these guys that was in they're thinking along those lines. We're already saved. Why do we need to be redeemed? Ain't no curses. We ain't captives. Just wanted to add that.
Part of Boss has been a witness to that, and being that you're an ex-witness, we definitely need you out here. You already got practice on harassing people.
Indeed. Me and Wendy.
But thanks for that. And I was watching this channel, and this Willie Lynch. Y'all remember who Willie Lynch was? Willie Lynch is serious. Willie Lynch was the slave owner who came up from the West Indies to teach the American slave masters how to keep the Hebrew Israelite slaves in control, stop them from revolting. And once you apply these techniques, you don't have to hang them in trees. He's saying, brothers, I noticed when I came up, I smelled a stench of bodies hanging. You're ruining your merchandise. So he says, once you apply these techniques, you won't have to ruin your merchandise no more. Because I'm gonna give you these techniques, gonna control these Israelites' minds forever if you apply these techniques correctly. So I'm watching this channel, and it's run by a brother who looks like me. Swear he has the truth. He has a non-melanated doctor on his channel, and he's asking this doctor questions like he's the authority. And I have this man's book. He translated some of the pseudepigrapha books. I have his translations. Now this man's a doctor to set up missionary programs, and he has his own ministry. These people, these Christian apologists, trying to embarrass us and prove people that we're cults and we're quacks, we're unlearned. Ask this man, good doctor, do you believe those people from 1948 are really the Israelites of old? And I'm like, you need master to tell you who the Israelites are, right? And this good doctor says, well, yeah, they have to be, because the prophet said he's going to restore his people to the land. And all the Christians are like, I'm like, so you get this non-melanated doctor of seminary telling you that the 1948 people are the people. And it proves that just because you got so-called education, you don't know what's going on, because we open up with Zephaniah chapter 3. When the real Israelites get into the land, they have no more fear. It says the earth is at peace. Is the earth at peace? But here you got a man with all kind of learning, Greco-Jesuit education. You get him on your platform like he's God. Give us the answers. Now, let me ask you this too, doctor. Now, we hear some of these people speaking this, something they made up called Lashawan Qadash. Have you ever, in all your, now you done seen artifacts and you done seen all kind of things. Have you ever heard of this? Not to my knowledge. So I guess if he never heard of it, it ain't true. I'm gonna show you the power of being an Israelite today. So these are the prefixes that you'll see attached to a word. And once you distinguish if these characters or these glyphs are being used as a prefix, it'll help you identify the root to pronounce that word. The first one there, the ox head, that can be used as a prefix for I or my. And the example I give you, like, if you heard that the pagan word Adonai, they call him Adonai in scriptures. Well, in our tongue, he's Adonaiah. Adonaiah is Dan, like the book of Daniel. Dan for us means to judge. So when we say Adonaiah, we're saying Yah is my judge, or I'm judging for Yah. So we call Hamashiach Adonaiah because he's judging us for Yah. We don't want Yah to judge us, right? If Yah judge us, it's over. So Hamashiach is Adonai. So everywhere in your scripture, when you see lowercase Lord, it's referring to Hamashiach. He's Adonai. My judge is Yah. So he's judging us for Yah. The Ba, y'all hear us say all the time, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, I worship Yah, Bahasham, in the name and the blood of Yahweh Shai. So Ba for us is in or by. The Ha, you guys hear us say all the time, is just the article the. Hamashiach, that we brought out with that Cyrus Messiah class. No, Hamashiach, he's the Messiah. He's the ultimate one. He's the last one we need. So when you see Ha, you have to distinguish if it is being used as the. And then the next one is the tent peg. The tent peg, we secure things together. So that's why it's a conjunction, is and. So you will see this at the beginning. Almost every scripture you read in the text, it says, and the Lord said, and he said. When we put it back in our language, it's going to be why Yah Amar. Why and Yah, he, Amar, said. Why Yah Amar. So why is a prefix for and. Then we go to the next side, and that's the ma, the picture of the ocean. That's the ma for us. And this, if it's being used as a prefix, it means from. So if someone asks you now where you're from, you won't say I'm from New York. You won't say I'm from New Jersey. You won't say I'm from California, North Carolina. You're going to say I'm my Yasha'Allah. My Yasha'Allah means what?
From Jerusalem.
I'm from Jerusalem. I'm from Jerusalem. I'm my Yasha'Allah. My Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is Jerusalem. Yasha'Allah is Israel. So we're my Yerushalayim. I'm from Jerusalem. Then the next one is the shepherd's staff. And when you see that, that's 2 or 4. So when I say, when you hear me type Kaya Da La Yahweh, it's all praises 2 or 4 Yahweh. So when you see me type Kaya Da La Yahweh, I'm saying give all praises 2 and 4 Yahweh. So La in front of a word, it can be used for a prefix 2 or 4. The next one is the open palm. It's the palm of a hand, and that as a prefix means like, or as, or you. So if I say, y'all know the Yiddish people say Lakayim, Lahayim. Well, they don't know our language, so they're trying to say Lakayim. Ka for us is life. So when we say Lakayim, is for life or to life. So then when I say Shalom Alaikum, and you hear the Muslims say Shalom Alaikum, Assalamu Alaikum. So Ka for us is 2. So if I say Shalom Laka, peace to you. La is for and Ka you. Shalom Laka. So we say Shalom Laka. We don't say Shalom Alaikum or Assalamu Alaikum. So Ka for us is a prefix meaning to you, or that our prayer of as it is in heaven, as it is be on earth, we would say, make it Abanaba Shabbat Shemayim. Stop. Go back up. Pop. So when we get to that point, we would say Abanaba Shabbat Shemayim Qadash Hayasham Ka. Yahweh Malak Waska. The Bible Tazawanka. Haya Asha, make it be so, by Shemayim, kind of like, or by, now I gotta do the whole thing. Abanaba Shabbat Shemayim Qadash Haya Shamka, Yahweh Malak Waska, the Bible Tazawanka, Haya Asha Ba Avataza, Ba Avataza in the earth, Ka
is in heaven.
Ka as it is in heaven. So Ka could be as it is or to. So once you learn these prefixes, you'll be able to start identifying the roots and say, okay, that's the root. So that Ka is a prefix. It's just going to come with practice. And then the last one is the arm of a man, and that's our Yah sound, and that could be the prefix he. So like I go back to what I use. Every scripture that opens up with, and the Lord said, is going to say, Wah and Yah Amar. Wah is and, Yah is he, Amar said. So they'd be like, Wah Yah Amar Yahweh. Yahweh comes at the end. That's how our language is. So me being an Israelite, I know, oh, Yahweh said this. But the text is going to read, Why Yah Amar Yahweh. So when you see Yah, it's referring to he. And that's why I told y'all, we are not Hebrews, we are Ibar Yah. Yah means it's just a pronoun for he or them. So in the singular, we are Ibar Yah. If I make it plural, we are Ibar Yam. That makes sense? So once you learn these glyphs, break it down our Torah, break it down even the New Testament, because that's what we're trying to, the whole purpose of this family is to win the Christians. So to win the Christians, their Bible is the New Testament. That's what the Christian Bible is called. The Christian Bible is the New Testament. So to win them and show them that they're following idolatry, we got to put the New Testament back in Hebrew. Like we brought out, we can expose the New Testament by putting it back in Hebrew. That's why we're going through this, all right? So let's go through our exercise today. It's a sentence, so don't be. All right, so to back up, the first word is Barakya or Barakaya. We won't know for sure till we hear the ancients. That last ka sound, I don't have my phone.
Can you also say Barakaya?
Whatever's easier for your speech pattern.
Okay.
Because we all come from different regions of this pagan United States. So however your speech pattern is, you're not wrong. As long as you got those correct glyphs, Barakya, Barakaya, or how did you run it? Barakaya. See, Barakaya, Barakya, or Barak, we're still saying the same thing. It's just that we have different speech patterns. But we're still saying the same thing. And when we break this down into the Hebrew, this Barakya is a compound word. Barak means to bless. So Bara means to increase or to create. So when I put the ka in it, I'm saying, may Yah increase you. Barak. In the beginning, God created. In the beginning, he bara. He enriched this earth. So when I say, I put the Barak, I'm saying Yah increases you. So it's a compound word. And then at the end, Yah is he. Barak Yah, he bless you. Y'all see that? So this word is a compound word made up of three different types of, I guess, prefix and suffixes. So the root is bara. You see, bara means to increase, to create, to increase, to create, bara something. But then I put the ka, barak. I want the Most High to increase you, to enlarge you. And then the Yah means it's a suffix for he. So Barakya or Barakaya, he bless you. Now, the next word is Bawa. Bawa means come, to come, to come. So Barakya, bless he that comes. Hasham in the name. Bless he, Bawa, who comes, the name Yahweh. Bless him or he who comes in the name of Yahweh.
So did you mean to put Bahasham, Bawa, Bahasham?
No, because an Israelite would know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, us learning, you'll see people put the Ba there. But as me and you speaking naturally, we wouldn't say Bahasham. We would know blessed is he who comes in the name of the Most High.
Okay.
Now, if you do it like that now, you won't be wrong because this is our generation coming back. So you won't be necessarily wrong, but a true Israelite wouldn't have to put Bahasham, if that makes sense.
So if we read from left to right.
No, right to left. Right to left.
That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But your letters are.
I have to so we can read them.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I wrote it and I'm like, I'm saying it backwards, but okay.
I started when you was here. I did that when we first started. Everyone was like, we can't read it because it's backwards. So how you're seeing it, you're right. I'm supposed to put all the words on this side but everyone's like, we can't read it. So for the phonetics, I gotta run them like that, just to avoid confusion.
But in our culture, they would write it
Yep.
this way.
Yep.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
So, but we're reading it that way anyway, right?
The Hebrew is going from right to left, but the English, the English, it's not even English. We're making Hebrew sounds.
You're
family.
just saying you would turn the words
Right.
backwards.
Right.
Like Barakia would be Yah Kabra.
The B for Barakah will be on the other side.
Right.
That's what
Okay.
Sister Corinne is noticing, and she's right.
Oh, I got you.
And I did that when we first started. Everyone was like, I was confused because we grew up here. It messes our heads up. So she's right. If we put the phonetics of the Hebrew correctly, that B should be on this side, Barakah. But because we're still learning, I got to do it the English way and put it on, so you're right, sis.
Okay.
When we're fully converted, we will. I have books where it's straight like that. It's like that. So you're right. You're right.
That's another indication that we're people because our people have a tendency to be what the Roman culture or Greek culture say is dyslexic.
Yeah. Call it the way dyslexic. It was the spirit. Like hey. So you're absolutely right, sis. You're absolutely right. So this is Psalms. I think This is beginning of Psalms 118. I think it is. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. And I'll do the second half next week. So I thought this was a great exercise to get y'all growing because it's adding the prefixes and the suffixes to it. To break this down, we say bawa to come because the ba is a prefix to be inside or by. And then the y is to be joined. So any Spanish speakers in here? I know Abishai, the Spanish people say, ben aquí, come here. And it's like, ben, you hear the ba inside. I want you inside, joined to me. So I'm saying, come here. The pagans, for the pagan tongue, just come here. But for us, bawa, come by my side, join to my hip. Y'all see that? So bawa for us is, I want you by my side. So we're saying Barakakaya, Bawa Hasham Yahweh. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. So we're gonna finish the other verse next week, the other part of the verse next week, but it's Psalms 113, I believe it is, or 118. Now, to give you some scholarship, and this is a request from a conversation I had, and let me say this. If you ever ask me a question, either during Shabbat class or through a text, and I don't respond or follow up like I said I would about a week, just go ahead and remind me. I forgot. I didn't mean to. It's just I forgot. But this is a request from a conversation I had earlier with some family member, and we all want to be sure we're pronouncing his name right. And there's so many different things out there, and the Torah Group, we don't shun no one. If everyone, we applaud and we rock God that you know his name is not Lord and God no more. That's a blessing. That there's no way we should be standing calling him Yahweh or what is it out there? Yahuwah, Ahaya, even them saying Ahaya, praise God that they know his name is not Lord. So this is not a exercise to shun anyone. But because there's so many different people out there with YouTube channels, and you got a smartphone, now you're teaching tomorrow. It's like, how can we be sure? And I stopped, once I was content that I had it right, I stopped giving witnesses because to me, I'm confident, but I want, per a request, I'm going to give you the scholarship on how we know this is pretty much 100% accurate. His name is Yahweh. And that leads me to follow up with these Christian apologists. You get these skeptics, and they want to refute all the scholarship. And for you to get in front of your channel and say, nah, I don't believe all that black stuff, but you don't have no receipts, that's ignorant. We got brothers digging up books We got brothers paying money to have books translated to support what we're saying. But you get these Christian apologists and you get someone called a doctor in front of your channel, and all they say is that's not true. Can you imagine me? I'm showing you all my math, old school. Y'all know old school, these new people, they have computers, calculators. But us old school, teachers say, show your math. I'm showing you my math, how I got my answer, and you just say, dang, right? That's what these Christian apologists are doing, and they think they're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing yourself. To me, you sound like Oswald Bates from A Living Color. Y'all remember A Living Color, the intelligent inmate, using all those words? Damon Wayans. Look up Damon Wayans' Living Color. He was an inmate, and he was a jailhouse intellectual. And let me put.
He was a Muslim.
He was a Muslim, and always trying to sound intelligent and using big words. So to me, you apologists, you sound like Oswald Bates in jail. You know, I done studied this, and I done studied that, and I done sat with this pastor, and you sound ignorant because you don't know the culture. So, family, when you get someone just telling you, I don't believe that, I'm listening to these Christians trying to act. I'm asking Father, show me how I can help one of them if I see them one-on-one. You know, and I started to put a tally on one of my yellow stickies. But if I had $1 for every time I heard one of those Christian brothers say, well, I believe, the way I see it is, I'm like, and that's what you get. I believe, and I don't think Paul was meaning this, and Paul is he's using apocalyptic literature, and he's using you don't understand what you're saying. You sound like Oswald Bates trying to use all these seminary terms, and then you get these white seminary doctors on your channel, and now you think you know something. I'm going to show you with scholarship how we know his name is Yahweh. His name is Yahweh. So this is going to be a review for most of y'all, but just bear with us, but we're going to show you the scholarship. So this is right off line here. You can go to the site. It's still up. I checked it. And can you read this for us?
What's the website? I can't.
Yeah, let me get this slice of blur. So this site is still active. I bookmarked it, so you can go here and verify everything that we're gonna say. tnfonline.com, and you type in all that to go straight to the article, but tnfonline.com is the site. And what I do is I go to the article and email it out to the group chat so you can have it. But this is where we're going to clip this from.
The conception that the language was confused at Babel and restored to or remained with Abraham. The conception that the language was confused at Babel and restored to or remained with Abraham is most likely expressed in a fragment from Qumran of a work called An Exposition on the Patriarchs.
So they found a fragment at Qumran. And now these good doctors and these archaeologists are calling this fragment an exposition on the patriarchs. Okay, read on.
The same fragment also testifies that the idea of an eschatological restoration of all peoples into the chosen language, Zephaniah 3, verse 9, which is equated with the holy language, Lashawan Qadash, the language of the holy. A term here recorded for the first time.
So they want to get on their YouTube channels and say we made up this Lashawan Qadash. They done made up a language. The phrase Lashawan, the Hebrew word for tongue or language is Lashawan or Lashawan for speech. So we can change the form of a word to fit a different pagan word. For speech or tongue or language is Lashawan or Lashawan. And then Qadash, y'all know is holy. So you got this white doctor on your channel trying to mimic and make fun of us, but the phrase is right there in Zephaniah 3 and 9. Our language is a holy language because it was only restored to Abraham after the Tower of Babel. So when we say It's not a thing we made up. It's just a sacred language. The pagans who studied us and became Hebraeans, they call our language the sacred language. They would esteem this one over this one because this one knows the sacred language. He has knowledge, but he don't know the sacred language. So when we say our language is holy, the pagans know our language is holy. So for you to get on your little YouTube channel and have 4 or 5 hours of condescending, you don't even know the Bible you got in front of you. So Lashawan Qadash is not a made-up thing. We're just saying this is the holy tongue that Father restored to Abraham, our patriarch. Any questions or comments about that? And forgive my fire, I get frustrated with these people trying to paint themselves to be something, and when you are ignorant and you so holy and come from love and you gotta love you Christians, you listen to these Christians, they don't have no love for us. It's a bunch of condescending. So Lashawan Qadash is not a made-up thing. We're just saying the holy tongue, the set-apart tongue. That's what Lashawan HaKadash means, the holy tongue. Now, patriotistic exegesis. All this is garbage to us. But what this paragraph is about to tell you, their church fathers called our language holy and sacred. Their church fathers. Can you read this for us?
The idea of the linguistic primacy of Hebrew was asserted by several ecclesiastical writers in antiquity, most of whom wrote after the latter part of the 4th century. Among the Greeks are Origen, John Chrysostom, Diodorus of Tarshish, and Procopius of Gaza. Among the Latin are Jerome, Ambrose, Saster, Augustine, and Isidore of Seville.
All these men he just named, these are pagan church fathers. And Origen, he learned Hebrew, so he was esteemed higher than the others. Origen actually learned Hebrew. But all these men, Origen, John Chrysostom, Diodorus, Procopius, and then, Jerome gave you the Latin Vulgate. All these men, they esteemed our language. They called Hebrew the sacred tongue, the holy tongue. Even these pagans would be careful when they learned the Father's name. They didn't want to write it any old kind of way. Our tongue is the holy tongue of creation. We're not making anything up. Read on up.
The idea was rejected by 2 distinguished theologians, Gregory of Nyssa and Theodore of Cyrus.
So these 2 pagans disagree that Hebrew is the first tongue and the holy tongue. Okay, read on.
The topic was this.
Who says this?
I was just thinking out loud. What did they say it was?
Again, she just verified my point. Y'all disagreeing, so what's the holy language then? What's the first? If you're disagreeing with Hebrew is the first holy tongue, what say you? These people are I don't believe that. I don't think it's, but you don't got nothing to offer with scholarship. We're giving you hours of scholarship. You just say, I don't think that's right. You sound a first grader. Read on.
To begin, in one of the homiliest of the books.
Homilies?
On one of the homilies on the book of Numbers, it states that the language given to Adam in the beginning, in his opinion, Hebrew, remained in the nation that was not assigned to the dominion of angels at the confusion of tongues at Babel.
So Babel, the tongues got confused. Yah said, let's go down there and confound the languages. Our patriarchs, if you get the Testament of the patriarchs, I think Jubilees mentions it, and he's saying these pagans read our scrolls and they believe it. 70 angels came down and taught different languages. He said, but the language that was given to Adam, the angels didn't give us we kept the language that Adam spoke. So these pagans are supporting our scrolls, that the 70 angels taught the different tongues, but to the descendants of Adam through Shem, they kept the holy tongue. Your church fathers is saying this, and you cite these church fathers. That's why I call these people Oswald Bates. You cite these church fathers, but you're saying that we're making something up. It's letting me know you just read a bunch of all this and that, and you done heard a bunch of prison talk, and now you just put it on your YouTube channel, and to the unlearned Christian, it's like, wow, thanks for bringing that out. No, you just been deceived. You just been indoctrinated. This man didn't give you no research, no sources, just saying they're making something up. But the church fathers that you claim you know are saying our language is holy. Read on.
Since it remained the portion of the Lord, Origin construes the verse, "Come, let us descend and confuse their language," to mean that God exhorted the angels to produce different languages.
So Origin ain't deducing this. Origin is reading some scrolls that your pastor tell you don't read from. Origin is reading it, and he's finding out from our patriarchs that it wasn't the Father himself. The Father never came down here and did work himself, family. He always said Malachi. So Origin is reading our scrolls, and now because Origin is a great Greek philosopher, and now he knows Hebrew, Origin is the rule. Origin is the canon. But you won't believe the testament of Natali. But if Origin says it, the angels came down and gave 70 different languages. But to the descendants of Abraham, we kept the tongue of creation. It became known as the Hebrew tongue, but we're telling you it's the Ibarya language. Now, the next question is, let me back up, because you get these people again, especially if you get around like New York people. No slight. But the New York brothers can be very cocky and intimidating. And you got to be able to stand 10 toes down, but no, that's not the truth. So you get these Kemetic brothers, and the oldest language is the cuneiform language is the oldest clay tablet found, and it's older than Hebrew, and it's like, and this was found in Mesopotamia, aka Babylon. And this is when y'all got to slow down and be Bereans. Okay, you found a clay tablet that's older than the Israelite tablets because your kingdom was set up before the Israelite kingdom. But the fact that this is the language that was before Babel, it's older than your tablets. Just because we hadn't written it down, don't mean our tongue is newer than yours. So if everyone spoke the same language at the Tower of Babel, and then 70 angels confounded the language, but our elders kept the language, we just hadn't started writing any, we didn't have any monuments because we were nomads. God told Abraham, get from your fathers, come from Babylon. So you get these Kemetic dudes, and yeah, Hebrew is not even the oldest language. In Sumeria, they found the Akkadian Empire, and to the unlearned, you're impressing people. Because they ain't gonna go back and verify nothing you saying. You sounded all cocky and sure, but to me, I'm like, you sound like Oswald Bates. You just throwing out a bunch of names and words no one knows, and to the unlearned, you sound educated. We just got Greek scholars telling you Hebrew, the tongue of Adam, is the oldest language. Just because our monuments are not older than Babylon, don't mean our tongue is not older than theirs. Our kingdom was still being built, and Abraham was being a nomad. But what did he tell Abraham? Abraham, look north, look east and west, look south. This is all for your people. Our tongue is the oldest tongue on the earth, and the pagans said it. Shalom out. Now the next question becomes, okay, what does it sound like? And then you get these pious people, so I hear recorded. Just because we don't have it recorded, we have scholarship. We have scholarship. So let's give you some scholarship that we know what we're saying, and our tongue, our pronunciation is verified. This is a book we have right in the house. I've been begging y'all for years. You can borrow this at any time. I have notes in it. I don't just get up here and feed you garbage. I don't feed you fast food. I make sure I know what I'm saying before I release it to the public. This book is in the house. You can borrow it anytime. For those of you who respect their system, because you know I'm ignorant, right? I don't have no education. I don't have my diploma. This is a book written by a doctor's seminary. And what he brings out is the vowel systems in any form is an adulteration, is an abomination. So when you get people pronouncing words with the Greek vowels, you're adulterating the Most High's language in his word. I have a Torah here by a pagan, and he puts on here ancient Hebrew Torah. And it's ancient because our people is ancient, but in his Torah, he uses the symbols, but he uses some symbols to be vowels. That's why it's like, I started reading, I started decoding like it's garbage, because our ancestors don't have vowels. And that's what this good white doctor is about to tell you. The Hebrew language in any form never had any vowel system. Whether it's the dots or you turn it 5 of the letters into vowels, it's all pagan. It's adulteration. But I have this book, you can borrow it. You'll be better off reading the English and putting them back into the glyphs yourself than decode, because you don't know when he used it as a vowel or not. It's garbage, family. It's garbage. But because I'm ignorant, I'm from the ghetto, right? Y'all see the man's title. Charles William Wall, and he's a DD. What DD means, y'all? Doctor of Divinity. He's a doctor of divinity. He held the post of vice provost of Trinity College in Dublin, right? So this man has a title, and he was working as a president of one of their universities, right? If that's not enough, this published over in London, right? London, and y'all see the year it was published? This is going back to 1827. 1827. This is scholarship. But you see in front of your calendar, and your camera says, they done made something up. But no scholarship, right? This is page 5 of the introduction. Can you read this for us, please,
In fact, the Masoretic system was the gradual production of a long series of ages extending from about the 7th or 8th to the 12th century of our era.
So let me slow down for all of those who are not initiated. The Masoretic system is going back to the Masoretes. They're the ones that came up with the dots and Nikus and Sukus. And they started developing this system going back to the 7th and 8th century, 600s and the 700s. They didn't get it really locked down until the 12th century. Anybody know what year that is? The 1100s. They didn't get this system of vowels locked down to the 1100s. 800 more years, we on slave ships. But this is ancient. Read on.
And the Masoretes pointed their scriptures not only with great care and deliberation, but also with the most scrupulous honesty.
So they put these dots and let you know, okay, now we're going to turn that Y into an O. So if I put this dot on this side, you pronounce it as an O. If I put this dot on this side, you pronounce it as a U. How confusing would that be to a baby? Can you imagine teaching your little toddler to read? And no, not junior, this time it's a U. This is all adulteration, family. This is what we got to go through to get back to our roots. Read on.
So that the misreadings to be laid exclusively to their charge, which have been detected by Hebraeus since the period of its having been found, that the pointing of the sacred text is to be treated as a work of uninspired, fallible men, are neither extremely numerous nor of the very highest importance.
So he's saying, listen, Hebraeus are pagans who are learned Hebrew. He's saying the charge that these Hebraeus are putting against the Masoretes, that them pointing it, has led to a lot of errors. He said they're being too hard on them because they pointed their scriptures with great accuracy. It don't matter. You adulterated the Most High's word. So these points are abomination. Read on.
And they are neither extremely numerous nor of the very highest importance.
So he says it's not important, but the Most High says do not add or take away. So if you just turn his name from Yahweh to Yahuwah, and the demons know his name, and you sitting there wondering why can't this devil off me? The devil knows his name is not Yahuwah. Y'all see where I'm going? I'm trying to win my Christian family fans. I'm trying to win them, let them know you can't be starstruck with these YouTube personalities. I'm trying to win my Christians. Read on.
But the case is widely different with regard to the further disclosures made in the following essay, namely that the Hebrew Bible, as it is issued from the pens of its inspired authors, was written without vowel signs of any kind.
What did he say,
It was written without vowel signs of any kind.
The Hebrew Bible, as it flowed from the pens of Isaiah, Obadiah, Moshe, or Moses, it didn't have no vowels. No vowels. Read on.
whether points or letters.
So whether you take some of these letters, these glyphs here, and say these are vowels, or the dots, the prophets didn't use this system. If Moshe was here and you showed him that those dots, what are you doing? You don't put dots around the Father's name. They will put hands on you. Moses would look here and say, okay, this is what I can read. All this vowel system, they might put hands on you. You don't play with the Most High's word. These Christians don't know this though. But you get a white doctor on your platform. Now he's God. He's the authority because he done built missionary schools. Now I'm supposed to be impressed by him. This is the power coming back to God. They have no understanding. Read on.
That where Halef, Yod, and Wa are now to be seen in the.
So they took the Ha, the Wa, and the Ya and made these vowels. That system was called the Matrice Lesiones. They took 5 of our consonants and made them vowels. It's abomination, family. It's abomination. Let's read on here.
Their primary and proper use of the same general nature as that of all the elements of the Hebrew alphabet, to the occasional service of denoting vowels, that they there constitute no part of the original writing.
So he just said, even the system of using those 5 consonants as vowels, they are not part of no original writing. No scroll you're gonna find have no vowels in it. That's why this book is garbage. I paid $30-something for this book for nothing, because he took 5 of the letters and made vowels. This book is garbage, and he's a good doctor, good educated man. Not for us. We're behind enemy lines, family. Their education means nothing to us. Read on.
But they were interpolated in it not long after the commencement of the 2nd century.
Interpolated means added. Interpolate is an old-fashioned word for added. They added this system about the beginning of the 2nd century. Read on.
That this interpolation of vowel letters in the main correctly executed, and which contributed essentially to preserving the legibility of the word of God in the original tone, after the ancient Hebrew had ceased to be spoken as a living language, was yet due to an improvement in orthography, which as of foreign and of pagan growth.
It's of what?
Foreign and pagan growth.
It's of foreign and pagan growth. What did he say, Jeremiah 10? Do not learn the ways of the heathens. So your vowel system comes from the pagans. Read on.
And the Jews were at first reluctant to admit, even into their ordinary writing, of which they were at length induced to extend the use of to their scriptures solely from violent aversion to Christianity.
So he says our ancient forefathers, they were reluctant to even every day send a note to Zamariah. But to the Holy Scriptures, I'm definitely not using this vowel system. You see how our family respected the word? So this is what the history you don't know, family. Introduction, page 9.
In the 4th place, the reader, even without admitting the divine origin of alphabetic writing, may ask if the Hebrew system of letters in its primitive state was, as I have in a former essay endeavored to prove it, a miraculous gift from God. How could it be supposed to have been imperfect in that state?
So these ancient writers are very wordy with their sentences. So let's read this again. In the 4th place, the reader, even without admitting the divine origin of alphabetic writing, may ask if the Hebrew system of letters in its primitive state, in its first state, as I have in an earlier or former essay endeavored to prove it, it's a miraculous gift from Yah. He's saying if this primitive writing is a gift from Yah, how could it be imperfect? How can you improve on it? Let that sink in. If I prove that this system is a gift given from Abba, how can you improve on it? Deuteronomy 4:2. Ye shall not add to the word which I command you, and ye shall not take from it. When you say thou shalt not sin, And the Most High says, La'akata don't have the same effect, do not sin. Because kata means you separated yourself from the mark of life. You see how more powerful that is? Now we grew up, yeah, I sinned, but God knows my heart. Imagine we grew up knowing you just separated yourself from the mark of the Most High. You see how most serious that is? That's why our language is powerful, family. These Christians don't understand what they're saying. Page 13, read on.
Y'all, you had your hand up.
You have
Yeah, with the not adding or taking away that you cited in Deuteronomy, that sparks what I think about, what people think about saying Old and New Testament. Well, there is no Old and New Testament. This is one continuous book, one continuous story about a people's heritage. So even that is adding and taking away, because they like to use that to say there's an Old and New Covenant. Well, there's no old or new covenant. It's still a continuous covenant. We just bring brought back into the covenant by the means of Yahweh Shai and the Most High's mercy upon us as a nation and as individuals. So you can't do no adding nor taking away. That's easy to dissect.
Apostles will lay hands on you if they knew that you attached their letters to the holy words of the prophets. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John will smack you if you attach their letters to the holy prophets. That's how much we esteem those men. Thank you for that, This is page 13. Read on.
In the first place, then, about 2 centuries after the termination of the Babylonian captivity, and while a considerable number of persons still continued to speak pure Hebrew as their vernacular dialect, Asia was invaded by a people who had introduced into the original alphabet the vast improvement of vowel letters.
Asia, we are Asians. Asia is an old Latin or Greek word for east. He just said Asia was invaded by a people who had introduced into the original alphabet the vast improvement of vowel letters. Who was Asia invaded by who introduced these vowel letters?
Greeks.
Read on,
And the Jews were in consequence forced, in spite of their prejudices, to learn a species of writing that made them acquainted with the use of such letters.
The Greeks came through and they forced their way of life, not on just us, family, on all the nations they conquered. So everyone became Hellenists and Grecians. I can't ever remember that. The Arabics, that's not true Arabic they're speaking, because they're using vowels now. The Chinese people, they even got, so everywhere Alexander and the Greeks conquered, you're going to follow our way of life. So that's why we get words like, how do you pronounce that? Because you don't know what syllable to stress. But when you come back to this, it's simple. Barakatah Yahweh. Our way of life is simple, family. These Christians mocking us, having little marathons, but you get this white doctor like he's golden. Because he went to a Greco-Roman education university. He knows what he's talking about. Willie Lynch, our people are gone, family. We know what we're teaching here. Let's continue here, page 25.
Thus, while Genesius, in section 7 of Conant's translation of his grammar, admits that Aleph, Yod, and Wav were before the Hebrew Bible came to be pointed, occasionally diverted from their appropriate use as consonants to that of denoting vowels.
Genesius is one of the well-respected men in the 1600s. I use his lexicon. I trust his more than the other ones. But he even admits in his intro that turning the ha, the ya, and the wa into vowels are adulterations. He's a doctor, family. I'm not a doctor, but you get this man on your little YouTube channel, and like we're making something up. The doctors know we don't have vowel systems, family. The doctors know we don't have vowel systems. Any questions or concerns about that? But wait, there's more. Can you drop down to he notices the very circumstances?
he notices the very circumstance which furnishes the true reason of there being no more than 3 matres lectiones in unappointed Hebrew writing, namely that Yod is therein used indifferently to represent either I or E.
So our Yah, the arm of a man, he's saying the pagans started using the Yah to denote a pagan I or E. This is going to be valuable, family. Write this down. The pagan Yah can be used for their I or E. Okay? Read on.
And Wa in like manner to denote either U or O.
So our Y is the 10th peg there, right? They're turning our Y and making it a O or a U sometimes. Let this sink in, family. The Yah is being used for an I or an E, and the Y is being used for a U or O. How confusing that is to learn a writing system at different times. It's like, no, not this time, it means this. How confusing would that be? And you wonder why we staying back in your school system. We're not ignorant. Your school system makes no sense.
That's where they get Yahoo from then.
Oh, you sharp today, brother. Let's keep going here.
How the vowel A could ever have been conceived to be derived from the softening of any modification of H power, it is not very easy to understand.
So he's being diplomatic. He's not trying to attack people. So he's writing very objectively, like you're supposed to do when you're doing scholarship. When you're doing true scholarship, you don't put your personal feelings into it. But what he's saying, family, they took our ha sound, the H, and they use it for an A sound sometimes. He's saying how they're turning the ha into a soft A is really not easy to understand. Meaning, like, what are you doing? So sometimes they use our ha in the Hebrew to form their pagan A. This is going to be very valuable, family. Write this down. Can you drop down to the next highlighted part?
As to Yod and Wa, they are, though usually termed consonants, in strictness but semi-consonants, so that the vowels I and U might possibly be derived respectively from their powers.
So these pagans are getting their powers of I and E from our consonants Ya and Wa. He's just confirming what he said up there. That's all. It's very hard to understand these old writers because I guess in their generation, like the more words you use, the more intelligent you sound. And you know, our teacher said get to the point. But you know, when you got a 1,000-word essay, you start throwing up all those. So these people were very wordy. All he's doing, family, he's confirming they turned our Ya into a I or an E, and they turned our Wa into an O or a U. That's all he's confirming. Can you read on out?
For if I preceding any vowel different from itself, as for instance, A, should therefore you therewith united be contracted in utterance into a single syllable, the resulting sound would be that of Ya or Y-A.
Yeah, you said it.
Okay.
So he's telling us, family, when you see their pagan I put in front of a pagan A, it denotes one syllable, Ya. Y'all see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, just like Zambia or Tanzania.
You see their Greek words?
Yeah.
Romania,
Nigeria.
When you see their pagan I in front of their pagan A, it makes the Ya sound. Read on. He says it again, just to get it again.
Start at the top.
Come.
For if I preceding any vowel different from itself, as for instance, A, should therewith united be contracted in utterance into a single syllable, the resulting sound would be that of Ya, and consequently, Ya could be in turn resolved by,
I don't know what that is. Diaresis, whatever.
into vowels
I and A.
And through a similar process, Wa could be turned or decomposed into U and A. Shalom. From what source the vocal uses of the matrices lectiones were actually derived?
So they don't know who came up with the matrices lectiones. And the matrices lectiones, he explaining, they're taking some of our consonants and saying, okay, the pagans can't match the ancient or the tongue of creation. The pagans can't match them letter for letter or word for word. So we're going to take 5 of these hieroglyphs and we're going to make these our vowels. So we can understand what, and the Greeks forced this system onto us because the Greek says we can't understand y'all, and now we are your masters. Y'all are going to follow our system. But our system has no vowels. So when we say Yahweh, we know what we're saying, family. Now to give you a picture, and you guys can screenshot this, or I can email this to you. Again, this was a request that I had from a family. It just took me a while to get to it. Can you read that for me? Who got to open mic?
It's muted.
So, with all this scholarship we just gave you, I didn't stand in front of you and say, I know his name is Yahweh because I know. I know his name is Yahweh because it's right there. That's what these Christians are doing. They're refuting all this research, just saying, I don't think that's right. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine you make a cake and someone says, I don't think you made that right? Did you taste it? No, I just don't think it's right. That's what these Christians are doing. So, our glyphs for the Father's name is 4 consonants. The Yah, the Ha, the Wa, and the Ha. What this doctor of divinity just told you, the Greeks forced a vowel system on us. And the vowel system they forced on us, they took our Ha, and they say sometimes we're going to make that for our pagan A. And then he said we're going to take the Israelite Y sound, the 10th peg, and sometimes we're going to use that for O or a U. And then we're going to take the Israelite or Hebrew Yah sound, and sometimes we're going to use that for an I or an E. And this is how you want it with Yahuwah. If you use this pagan system, you get Yahuwah. Now we're not bringing this out for the shun people. If you adopted this, all praises. But for the request I got, how do we know it's right? We use scholarship. But I don't indoctrinate no one here. If we all went shopping, we would have different parameters of how we're going to make our purchase. You young men, single, sky's the limit. Me, my wife, $40. So you have to decide your parameters for accepting someone's information. That's why the plumb line, put it back in Hebrew. I'm trying to give you tools so you can make your own decision. I don't want you adopting my way because my way is not the right way. Yah's way is the right way. But when we could give you scholarship and you just sitting up there, I don't think that's right. How smart do you sound? So we know the Father's name is Yahweh because A, we have no vowels in our system. And then now we got scholarship telling you they turned our Ha into an A, they turned our Y into an O or a U. So if you turn that Y into a U, there's your Yahoo, and then the last Ha into an A8 sound, that's how you get Yahuwah, family. So this is the scholarship we go through just so you're comfortable with it. But if you're not, so be it. If you got another way you get your information, you stick to it and you're comfortable with it, at least you can justify what you're doing and saying. We got people just saying stuff, you don't know what you're saying. Like we brought out that song, Mika Moka, Baalim Adonai. You got me saying Baal is my master.
That's why too, the other ones, they got people teaching, and I follow them just to learn, just to see what's out there. Help. But they got people that say it's Yahweh.
Yahweh. So that pagan, instead of using the Y for U, they're using the Y for O. That's all they're doing.
And then people, all sides, will have scholarship, quote unquote, sometimes. So I'm talking about Hebrews now. They will have documentation that shows why it's Yahweh, right? But you don't understand the origin or the root of why.
How far back did you go?
Right. So it's that. So like you always say, it's just you behind enemy lines, and it takes, the bad part is when your spirit get puffed up and you feel like, well, you figured it out, so it must be Jehovah because this one document that I have said it was Jehovah.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
And it's like when they tell you Mother's Day in pagan, it started with this mother who wanted to honor this soldier. It's like, okay, that's going back to 1940, but we got information that the Greeks had a Mother Day way before 1940. So it's like people don't understand how old we are as a people. That's another thing. When you hear these people talking about, oh yeah, this is from the dynasty in 3500 BC. Soon you hear these people start talking about BC, that lets you know they don't understand what they're talking about. Because BC itself is not ancient. BC was made up by a Christian monk in the 1500s. So when someone tells me, oh yeah, the Egyptian dynasty in 2500 BC, BC means before Christ. You said Christ left here 2,000 years ago, but you're relying on the Romans to tell you the times. This is the level, we're behind enemy lines, fam. This is the level we go through. So the last example of the I and the E, that's Obadiah, right? And that's, you see the I is before the A, and he brought that out in the paragraph. If I precedes any other vowel other than itself, in this instance, I is before A right here, right? It makes the Yah sound. So not only do we have scholarship to support what we're saying, we got practical knowledge. Why do we call this man named Obadiah? Why do we call him Jeremiah? It's the pagan vow system that been forced on us. Any questions, comments about that? We're up against these Christians trying to attack us and belittle us, and we're trying to pull our family away from that. But you get these learned men from Jesuit universities with all kind of books saying he went to Israel, and now you're trying to make us look. And then what really burns me about these Christian channels, they find the most youngest, ignorant person calling themselves the Israelite and have them on there speak like he speaks for all of us. Y'all know how on the news when something happens in the neighborhood, they find that sister with the bag on her head. That's what these Christians are doing. And now you got him. You see what these Israelites are believing? No. We got Israelites out here spending their own money, spending their own time, giving you research. We know what we're saying, family. So this was a request I received a couple of weeks ago. This is how we put confidence in Yahweh. If any other scholarship out there, I'm more than happy to take a look at it. And that's what we do. We just compare notes. And when you're not puffed up in pride, you can see, okay, there's more evidence for this side. So until more evidence is coming, I'm gonna go here. This man presents his case. I have no pride in this. I don't care what you do. Just make sure you know what you're doing. Don't just be following something because it's popular, family. That's why we put confidence in Yahweh. Any questions or comments about that?